The emotion that everyone is feeling, but nobody wants to talk about: anger. So a couple months ago, I did a video about transforming anger right around a month into quarantine. And I got a lot of feedback from a lot of people who said that was really helpful. So if you have not watched that video, I highly recommend that you scroll through my videos and find it and watch it. Because it'll be very helpful. And today's video is really part 2 to that conversation. Again, a lot of people feel angry, but no one actually really wants to admit that they are. And this creates emotional constipation and feeds the emotional eating cycle. And I don't know about you, but definitely this is an emotion that has been consistently presenting itself again and again and again throughout these times. So I have a lot to say about this. So the first thing about anger is that it is a part of being human. And anger is a part of the transformational process. It is a part of the emotional eating extinction process. So we have to feel it as we are healing our emotional eating. And it actually is also a part of a grief process. So if you are feeling angry, the good news is that you're doing all of this right. And it means that things are changing. You may not like how things are changing, or there may be a lot of fears and other feelings happening about the changes you're experiencing. But the main thing is that anger is an important part of change. And we don't want to avoid our anger, because if we do, we also avoid our change and our transformation. The second thing that you need to know about anger is that anger is one of the top emotions that emotional eaters will numb with food. In other words, anger is one of the major emotions that will trigger emotional eating, because we have a lot of shame and self-judgment around when we do feel angry. Usually when you feel angry on a subconscious level, you'll then negate that by saying, well, I shouldn't feel angry, or I can't feel angry here. Almost like a repeating of what you were trained in as a child of don't feel that, don't show people how you really feel, stuff it down, and, ignore it. When we experience our anger, there's a couple of patterns that I've noticed. Number one is that we will tend to take that energy and we will invert it. And we will actually attack ourselves as a way of avoiding how we actually really feel. So you may feel angry about something, but your experience of it may be a lot of self-criticism, a lot of self-judgment, and self-blame. And that can then trigger emotional eating, and eating as a way to avoid the discomfort, to shut up the voices in your head, and just the self-attack that happens when you're feeling angry. The second thing that tends to happen is that if you're not inverting it, or maybe you're doing it at the same time, you will then attack others. And that doesn't even necessarily have to be physicalized or verbalized, but you may be doing it in your head. And that looks like a lot of blame. And you may be blaming your husband or your kids or your clients or the dog or these times, our government, you name it. We could find a million things to blame these days. But recognizing that blame is just another way of seeking to discharge the discomfort that anger brings. So both ways, whether you're attacking yourself or you're physically, verbally, or mentally attacking another, it is simply a way to get rid of the discomfort. And then the final thing to keep in mind is that anytime that we are trying to get rid of our emotions, we're trying to like rid ourselves of our emotional charge, we are actually stunting our emotional growth. And that emotions aren't something to get rid of, like something that's dirty, but it's actually something to be harnessed and to be worked with and worked through, rather than something to get rid of. Your emotions are your energy, and you don't want to just be throwing away your energy. Again, because emotions and energy are needed for change. I know it's uncomfortable, I've been there, but keeping in mind that the discomfort is what supports us in the transformation. So with that, when I feel angry and have been feeling angry, the first thing that I do is I name it. And I simply say to myself, how am I feeling? And I identify, okay, I'm feeling angry. And then I affirm to myself, I am feeling angry. Simply allowing that and affirming that and naming how I feel is part of the reclaiming process. It's actually what puts us back into empowerment with our emotions. And then from there, I'll ask, why am I angry? What is going on here? And I'll usually grab my journal and list out all of the reasons why I feel angry. Some of those, do show up in blame, and some of those can show up in self-criticism, but just getting it out and down on paper is what can start to create some space within ourselves and how we want to engage with this emotion. And then from there, I'll continue with the digesting emotions process, because these first two steps of how do I feel, naming how we feel, and understanding why we feel the way we feel is a part of the digesting emotions process, which I teach in all of my Escape from Emotional Eating programs. All in all, because this video is starting to get very long, I want to share with you that however you are feeling, whether it's anger, whether it's grief, whether it's frustration or any kind of emotion, fear, do not resist it. Do not pretend like everything is fine, but also don't spew it or use your emotions as a weapon against yourself or another person. This is where we need to have some emotional resilience and emotional fitness so that we can feel the discomfort, we can work through it, but we can also show up in all aspects of our lives. Whatever you are feeling, don't resist it, because feeling is a part of being human. And in order to be the best human that you can be, that requires us to feel all the feelings, the good, the bad, the light and the dark, and everything in between. And the more that you can feel, the more that you can embrace your emotions and not feel threatened by your own feelings and energy, the more deeply you will feel grounded, the more deeply you will feel connected, and most of all, you will feel very connected to your intuition, because intuition is a sensory experience. So that's all for today. I'll end it there. I have a lot more to say about anger and emotional resilience and emotional fitness. But if this was helpful for you, or if someone comes to mind who you sense could benefit from this, share it with a sister, tag a friend, spread the love and support, and I'll see you in my next video.